You're listening to Marriage Minute with Pastors Richard and Donna Spears, impacting marriages that leave a lasting legacy.
Hey everybody, this is Pastor Richard and Pastor Donna. We are here again with you for this next podcast. We're really excited about this one.
We are.
We're talking about love languages.
Right. What did we talk about last week? Do you remember?
Words of affirmation.
Yes, because that's one of mine.
That's your
my
number one. Number one for Donna.
Hey, if any of you out there realize that your love language, your primary love language is words of affirmation, leave me a little note at marriageminute@revivalnow.com.
Yeah.
And let me know, and we can kind of share in that. And I'm sure you'll have some questions along the way. So I'd love to hear from you ladies and fellas out there if you realized your primary love language is words of affirmation, or if any of you out there realized for the first time that there were love languages.
Exactly.
Let us know. We want to know about that because we get excited about being able to bring new content to people that maybe haven't heard what's out and about there. So.
Yeah, I think words of affirmation is on my list. I think it's not my primary one, but it's definitely on my list. It's probably number 2 or 3.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so this week, we're reviewing the material from Dr. Gary Chapman. He wrote the book, and he did studies many years ago in counseling people. And what he found is he discovered these love languages that people have, spouses have with each other, couples have with each other, and once you start to know what these are, you can really start to I think we said last week was fill your spouse's tank, and
in ways that matter, like that mean something.
Right. So if Donna's primary love language is words of affirmation, if I do acts of service for her, which we haven't talked about yet, but if I did that, it's just not going to hit the mark for her because it's not something that really fills her tank, her love tank.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I love that, but it's not something that makes me feel valued and fulfilled.
Exactly. So this week we're going to talk about quality time.
Yep.
Now that's one of mine. I think that's near the top for me. It's like number 2,
We're
maybe.
We're going to have to take the assessment again.
We may have to take the assessment again,
yeah,
but it's out there. If you find that, you'll find that at Love Languages. There's a website out there from Dr. Chapman that you can actually take an online questionnaire assessment.
So worth taking the assessment because
it
you will not regret it.
It gives you very good hints and clues, and plus there's other information you can kind of follow up on from this discussion. But
so tell us about quality time. What do you mean by that?
What is quality time? Well, it centers on togetherness. It's really spending time, focusing on time, but we'll break that down a little bit more, but it's really intentional, focused time together. This is what fills the person who values quality time as their primary love language. It's really all about expressing your love and affection with undivided attention. So this is probably harder for guys, I think.
You think?
I think so. I
think like when we say that our paradigm is like what I've experienced, what you've experienced, but I think for the most part that's true. But I bet there are some guys out there, or some girls out there too, that quality time, some ladies that quality time is like number one for them.
Well, yeah, I guess I'm saying that for sure. It goes both ways for male and female. But what I'm thinking about is like, for men to give undivided attention. I think it might be harder for us as guys to give undivided attention than it is ladies.
Yeah.
I mean, ladies are such more in tune with each other. So when you're in a room and you're listening to ladies talk, they're just like, they're able to track and to follow and, what we call spider webbing, if you will. I mean, there's different topics being talked about, and the ladies are able to track with each other. With guys, we're like, I think we struggle.
If you jumped out of that box, you're not flowing.
You're not flowing. And so I think that's where, again,
I can see
maybe I'm being stereotypical with guys, but I think we're prone to have, a little bit of trouble with giving undivided attention. We multitask in different ways, sometimes not in healthy ways. Sometimes we're flipping at sports on our phone or whatever, and we're not giving our undivided attention to our wives. And so maybe we just don't, as guys, value relationship as much as ladies. Maybe that's part of it.
But it could also just be the male makeup,
Exactly.
It's just how God made women to be more intuitive, more
nurturing,
multitaskers in that way, relational, so
Right,
it could
right.
be just trying
men
to
want to
rescue
conquer.
you
Men want to
from
conquer. Men want to fix. So
Yeah.
what's the next thing? What's the next
Exactly.
mountain we can take?
Exactly.
That kind of thing.
Exactly.
So
but-
anyway, that's one struggle point maybe for guys when it comes to expressing our love and affection with undivided attention. And then the third thing about quality time is making time for your spouse and being intentional on how that time is spent.
And that is going to need some explanation, because I think a lot of people assume out there that, okay, quality time, well, I'm in the same room with them.
Yeah.
So that's quality time, but that really, it's not quantity, it's quality. And we'll address that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But, all couples need quality time spent together for their relationship to grow and to be
Absolutely.
strong and to strengthen. I mean, you wouldn't be
Absolutely.
married if you didn't want to grow your relationship, right?
I think the key thing, again, we'll keep it on, we're going to drill into some detail here, but, on a 30,000 foot level, we're talking about undivided, focused attention. Whatever the thing is that, the person who enjoys quality time, they may like a multitude of different activities or just hanging out at home, watching a movie together, popcorn. But whatever that is, it's really undivided attention. It's closeness, it's togetherness, it's focused and intentional.
It's very similar to some of the listening skills, listening versus hearing skills that we had talked about
Yes.
in our previous episodes. You guys out there, if your spouse is quality time, their primary love language is quality time, you can go back and listen to our listening versus hearing, or listening well, healthy communication.
I think that's on our live stream broadcast. You can watch that on demand from our website, revivalnow.com.
That would give you some great information on that.
Yeah,
So,
that's good stuff.
but if your spouse's love language is quality time, it goes so much deeper than just spending time together, like we said.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what are a couple key things that you think of when you're thinking about quality time? What's important?
Well, for me, it's important. Like you said, your quality time might be the first, your primary love language. So I would need to really truly focus on what you're saying. Don't do the if quality time is your thing, I can't have my phone in my hand.
Right.
I can't have a thought towards other things and not be listening to be able to give you a response and an intelligent, thought out response, not just a response.
Well, if I just parrot what you say,
exactly,
that doesn't mean I really listened.
Exactly.
Because we talked about, like you brought up, there's hearing and then there's listening. Well, hearing, I can hear what you say and I can parrot back what you said to me, but I really didn't listen with intent.
Yeah.
And I didn't really hear your heart about it because there's something deeper behind what you were saying to me than what I'm picking up just from hearing the noise, if you will.
Yes. Another thing is to lean
And I'm
in.
not saying that what you're saying is when you speak to me, it's noise. So
Right.
don't take
That's
that the
all
wrong
right.
way.
It can be at times. I try not to, but
I make noise
I
too.
don't talk a whole lot anyway, but. So another thing that I can do is lean in slightly to you when you're talking.
Yeah.
And I've noticed this. It's funny because I've noticed when I give you undivided attention and you're sharing something and I lean in and you kind of catch that I'm truly, locked in and interested in what you're saying. Man, you're on a roll. Like I'm wondering, is he ever going to stop talking?
I know
But it lights a fire in you. You're
Right.
like, oh my gosh, she's listening to me. She's hearing what I'm saying and she's interested.
Yeah.
And so
that
then
was
you
the
just
word
roll
right
with
there.
it.
That was the word interested because, and I'm sure, that's the same for anybody. If someone sees that you're interested in what you have to say.
And there's an excitement on my end in what you're saying.
Exactly. And that you're sharing, you're seeing the passion come up within that person and you're engaged with them. Man, that just lights a fire within the person who's sharing.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So that's cool. So body language matters, right? So even eye contact is important.
Yep,
Okay,
absolutely.
so affirm what they're saying. So we just kind of talked about that a little bit, whereas you don't want to just hear and parrot
Exactly.
But you're actually listening for the deeper meaning that's being expressed. So if I'm just parroting, as I said before, then the person who's sharing knows that you're not really paying attention.
Yeah.
You're not really getting what's being said. Ask thoughtful questions. I mean, you can't ask a thoughtful question if you're really not listening.
Right. Exactly.
There's just no way.
Yeah.
So
and no bigger turnoff than me asking you a question that has nothing to do with what you just shared.
Exactly. Or if you said something like, well, "What did you just say?"
What did you just say? I'm
okay.
sorry.
You can tell the person
Yeah.
who you're trying to communicate with is not engaged.
Exactly.
They're not engaged, and they're really not listening to what you're saying.
So deflating.
It is deflating.
Yeah.
So how about anything else you can think of there?
I think, and you can affirm or whatever this, but avoid offering advice or fixing.
Yeah.
It really does. It's a huge help on the front end if you're entering into a conversation, especially with somebody that wants to that their primary love language is quality time. If you say, "Hey, are you just wanting to talk and share, or are you needing me to offer advice?" Because a lot of times you just want to be understood.
Yeah.
You just want to be heard, not just. I wish we could just strike just from you want to be heard,
right,
and you want to be understood. It's not just, because it's so much more important than that.
And that's a big thing, I think, again, for guys, is that we're fixers. We like to fix things. And it took me a long time to learn, this, called a skill, for lack of better, is not to try to fix.
Yeah.
And I ask the question a lot of times on the front end. I'm like, do you just want me to hear you and not hear, but you want me to listen to you and not try to fix? And you'll tell me yes, or no, I'm actually seeking your counsel and some advice. So, for you ladies out there toward the men, offer some grace toward if you're learning these skills for the first time, offer some grace and extend that out and say, look, honey, if it's a wife to a husband, look, honey, I just need you to listen to me. I don't want you to fix anything. I just need to be heard, and I want you to just understand where I'm at and where I'm coming from.
That's big.
So
our daughter, one of our daughters, just called this afternoon, and her first statement to me was, "Can I just vent?"
Yeah.
And we've taught her and our children to preemptively say that. If you don't want mama or papa to fix things, because that's what we do for our kids,
right,
or offer advice or counsel, then let me know, and I'll just let you blow off, because that's what she needed to do.
Yeah.
She was frustrated. She just needed to vent, and that's all she needed. And when she was done, it was good.
Yeah.
I didn't offer advice. I didn't offer anything. I said, "Baby, I love you. I'm sorry that this happened, and I'll talk to you later."
Yeah.
And she was good. She just didn't.
We all need to be able to do that, without judgment. We may have to say some, I'm not saying like we have to swear or curse or whatever. I'm just saying we may have to say some ugly things
yes.
that may not be true.
Right. And we know they're not
deep
true.
Deep down, that's not how we really feel. But we just in the moment, we're upset, we're angry, and we just need to get it out.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And then after that, we feel a lot better, and maybe we have to offer forgiveness for something. But whatever the case is, sometimes you just got to get something out.
And a lot of times, someone whose primary love language is quality time, they want you to put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah.
They want you to see and feel and understand where they're coming from. That's big for them.
Yeah. I mean that's really empathy, right? So quality time spouses are more interested in feeling understood.
It's a feel.
It's a feel.
It's a feel. Words of affirmation peeps, I want to feel what you're telling me. What I mean? I need to feel. It's all about the felt emotion in all of these.
Yeah.
And that's what fills your tank.
Yeah, and quality time spouses are also looking for empathy and compassion,
Absolutely.
which is to the last point you were making, right? Will you just see the perspective from my shoes? Will you have some empathy and compassion upon where I'm at right now? And maybe it's a struggle point, whatever, but just don't try to fix me. Don't try to judge me. Don't try to make it all better. Just have empathy and compassion where I'm at right now.
Absolutely.
I know I'm going to grow through this, but I just need you to hear me.
Yeah.
And just
and I think
understand.
That, with quality time, this is one that you've got to do some work. If your spouse's love language is quality time, you can't just go in half baked. You've got to really dig in and be there for that spouse. You know, like words of affirmation, people can sniff out fakeness, you know.
Well,
Same with quality time.
Yeah.
So you've got to be authentic, and you have to be real. And if you're not going, I'm just telling you out there, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not authentic and you're not real and you're just trying to do this to get by, don't even do it, because you're going to make things worse than what they already are.
And you know, back to the point about empathy and compassion, don't be negative. I mean, don't say something like, okay, my wife is sharing with me about something, and you know, maybe I've gone through the same thing and the same struggle, and you know, I've moved past that, and then you tell me about the same type of struggle that, you know, I've already dealt with, and then I say, well, welcome to the club. Wow, what a downer that is.
Yikes.
Okay, well, you're not really being empathetic. And
That would be
really,
like, well, I'm not sharing anything else with you ever again.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because
Shut that door.
That's not really empathetic, and that's not. There's no compassion there.
So what should we
just
focus on?
Don't be negative.
Yeah, that's a big one.
So focusing on what? So focus on quality, not quantity.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Focus on that. Your phone's down. You're present. You're not watching TV. Turn the television off, unless you guys are watching a movie together. But
And that could be somebody's quality time.
it could
really could be.
Again,
it just
that can be
depends.
defined by you. Like what is
Exactly.
quality time for you?
Yeah, and
we're
that's
not
why-
trying to put it in a box.
Right. And that's why we don't, on our podcast and talking about quality time or words of affirmation, we don't want to always give, do this, you know,
Right.
because what one person equates to quality time is different for another person. And so we don't want to just say, if you do this, this, and this, and then that's what you focus on because Pastor Richard and Donna said that's going to make a difference.
No.
If that's not
You gotta find
reaching
that-
your spouse.
Right. You got to find that
Yeah.
for yourself. And so, you know, the example might be, okay, well, one of the spouses is a foodie and they like to go to different restaurants. Well, cool. Then do that. Go to different
Sacrifice,
restaurants.
if
Make your date night, you know,
Yeah.
every whatever Friday, Saturday night, you're going to go try a different restaurant.
Exactly.
And, you know, that's going to end up being quality time. You have great conversation over dinner. You're trying a new place. It's just fun. You know, so whatever that is, whatever you define that to be, just do that. Make a plan.
That's right.
Let them know that you want to spend time with them. You know, that's important.
That's big, yeah.
Making a plan. Taking a walk in the park. Going to see a new movie that's out, you know.
Yeah. Whatever hits the target for your spouse.
Whatever that is. Communicate. It's important to focus on communication. How would your spouse like to spend your time together?
Which
so
is
don't
kind of
make
what
it,
we were talking about.
Yeah, don't make it about what you think they want. Ask.
Yeah.
Just ask the question.
Don't play the guessing game.
Don't
Communicate.
Right.
Talk to your
Just
spouse.
talk about what you like to do, and then just set intentional time to do that.
And listen, if you're talking and having a conversation with your spouse about quality time, and your love language is not quality time, much like mine, don't throw in there what you want to do and what you like to do. This conversation is about sacrificing for your spouse and putting your wants and needs aside to be able to fill their tank in the way that needs to be filled.
Here's a couple of quick examples, like just from our life, right? I mean, I'm not saying you're like this huge shopper, right? But sometimes you like to go shopping or whatever and look for new dress or outfit or whatever. And shopping's not necessarily my thing. I mean, I'd rather stay home and just, you know, hang out and catch a ball game or whatever. But, you know, I go because I know you like to do that. And so it's not like a huge sacrifice to me, but I want you to know that I want to spend time with you.
Right.
And so when I go, I'm not complaining. I'm actually trying to help pick out clothes and find things that you might like. And I just kind of make it fun. I make it so, you know, I could make it miserable.
Right.
But I don't want to do that, you know. And then like a football game, like, you know, we're from the Midwest, so I like Ohio State University, you know, sports. So I'm a big football fan. So, you know, Donna likes to watch the football game with me on Saturday. She knows because I like to do that.
do.
That's a way for us to spend quality time together. Now she'll sacrifice. It's not like her thing, but she'll sacrifice. Say, hey, what are we going to have for the football game? You know, let's get some wings.
Make it fun.
Let's get some different food and whatever. Get a pizza. And then we'll just watch the game together and enjoy it. And that's kind of a quality time thing for us. So that's just a couple of examples of what that might look like. And just willing to lay down what you desire.
Your preferences.
And not complain.
Exactly.
When you go do the thing that your spouse likes to do, but make it fun.
which
and
leads us
intentional.
into what to avoid.
Yeah, what to avoid.
So, what to avoid, number one, don't complain about the time you have to spend with your spouse.
So you emphasize the word have to spend.
Have
to spend.
Have to, yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is emphasized on my paper. Big, bold letters in all caps. If you're complaining about having to spend this time with your spouse, it's not quality time. It's doing nothing. In fact, it's probably going in the negative direction in filling your spouse's tank. So, number one, don't be a complainer, period. Nobody likes a complainer. Don't be negative. That's not what Christian people do. That's not what Christ followers are full of joy. Yes, we have issues. Yes, we have trials and tribulations in this life, but our joy comes from the Lord and not what's going on in our life. And so, don't be a whiny complainer that is just, quote unquote, I'm suffering and for you. That, you know what, just go away. I'd rather just not, I'll do this on my own.
Yeah.
So that's not filling the tank.
No.
Don't, else to avoid? Don't multitask. We had mentioned that before. Don't be on your phone. Don't have the TV on unless that's something you guys agree to do together, when you're spending quality time. This is not about you. If you are trying to fill your spouse's tank that is their primary love language is quality time, this is about them. So you lay all your preferences and your desires aside for your spouse.
Yes.
Amen. Mm-hmm. Don't view your spouse as needy. This is huge. Just because you don't understand what quality time looks and feels like for them, because if it's not your primary love language, you're really not going to understand it. But if you view them as needy just because they want to spend quality time with you, then you have a problem. You have a thought process problem. You have a perception issue with your spouse because it's their love language and it's how they feel loved, valued, appreciated. It's how they their sense of self is fulfilled through this. And, if you can't see this, then you really need to get on your knees and pray and ask God to reveal it and give you that heart of compassion and love and empathy for your spouse in this area. Because it's very important.
It is.
Just like whatever your love language is out there, you want your spouse to feel that. It's no different when it's the other way around. And another thing to avoid, I have communicate down here. We don't want to avoid communication, but we want to find out, ask your spouse if what you're doing is hitting the mark. And if it's not, you avoid that. So whatever is not hitting the mark for your spouse, find that out and then don't do that, because really you're only going to find out what fills the tank by communicating with one another.
Absolutely.
So that's why I tucked that under what to avoid and also what to focus on, because really communication is key. Yep. Honest communication is key. So quality time, it's not about spending huge amounts of time together. You can ask any quality time person, it's not about hours and hours upon hours. It's really not about activities that you're doing, but it has more to do with how you spend the time together and if you are attentive and focused.
That's it. It's how you spend the time, and it's being attentive and focused with your spouse.
Exactly.
So that they feel valued and appreciated and loved.
So quality, not quantity. Don't think that because you jump in the car or you're glued to your partner's side that matters, because it doesn't.
So everybody out there, remember this when we're talking about quality time. It centers on togetherness. Mm-hmm. It's all about expressing your love and affection with undivided attention.
All caps.
All caps. Got the t-shirt.
Got it.
And making time for your spouse and being intentional on how that time is going to be spent.
Think about it.
This is critical for the quality time
it
spouses.
Really is.
For spouses that get their love tank filled, this is huge for them.
It's huge.
And so just remember those key points. Just remember those key points.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in today. We hope you were blessed. We feel you guys are all blessed with listening to our podcast, especially with these love languages. I mean, I think the material that we're bringing is, and the content that we have is just practical and good for everybody. But if you are a quality time person out there, speak up, you know, share with your spouse what fills your tank. Just like, you know, us words of affirmation peeps out there, we got to speak up and let our spouses know, because they want to know. They want to. If you're listening to this podcast and you're tuning into our live broadcast, that means you care. That means you want to know, and that means you're looking to improve.
Yeah.
Because we're always looking. Even now, we're always looking to improve.
We're always, you know, looking to improve.
Yeah. So, hey, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, anything out there, any feedback on our podcast or live broadcast, you can reach us at marriageminute@revivalnow.com.
And you can watch us on demand from our live stream broadcast that we do every Wednesday at 11 a.m. New York time. You can watch us live or on demand from revivalnow.com/watch live. You can also watch us on Facebook and YouTube at Revival Now Dan Steep. And all of our content, again, is on demand on all of those different platforms. We also have an app, the Revival Now app, that you can download from the Play stores. And you can watch all of our content there live as well and on demand. So all of it is there for the Marriage Minute. And you can also connect, obviously, to our podcast from our website or from the app. So great ways to connect and follow us.
Amen. What do you want to do next week? Do you want to do physical touch? Do you want to do acts of service?
Physical touch.
Sounds like we have a winner.
Wow.
All right, I'm making note. We're going to do physical touch next week.
Sounds great.
Please tune in. We love you guys. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening today. Catch all of our podcasts at revivalnow.com and send us your Marriage Minute questions at marriageminute@revivalnow.com.